What's up, Trek Nation? Welcome back to After the Snap. It's me, Tasha Pierce, and I am back here this week to review and recap with you the second episode of season 3 of Star Trek Picard. This one is called Disengage. So, if you'd like to know what I thought about Disengage, let's go. All right, let's see what they say this is about. Um, Aided by Seven of Nine and the crew of the USS Titan, Picard makes a shocking discovery that will alter his life forever, what's left of it, and puts him on a collision course with the most cunning enemy he's ever encountered. Meanwhile, Raffi races to track a catastrophic weapon and collides with a familiar ally. Disengage picks right back up where we left off last week with the big giant ship facing off against the SS Helios. We got Picard, Jack Crusher, because now we know his name is Jack, and Riker on board the Helios trying to figure out what their next move is going to be. Now, after Jack further explains why this ship is after them, I feel like Changeling is off the table for the true identities of the people on this ship or the big bads of this season. I think the conspiracy parasites might still be in the running, hasn't been completely ruled out. We get to see Jack in flashbacks to the Helios smuggling medication to a planet that is under quarantine due to a bioengineered pandemic. He seems to be a bit of a scoundrel. Kind of reminds me of Lando Calrissian from that other sci-fi franchise. He's charming. He's a rogue and a bit of a ladies' man, except he's also a mama's boy. In this flashback, he strikes a deal with some Fenris Rangers. He's going to give them a box full of weapons for them to allow him to go down to the planet, deliver this medicine. We find out right after he strikes this deal that they are also on the take and they have ratted him out. And although we haven't quite figured out who is on this huge ship, we know what they want, and that is Jack. They want him and they want him alive. So first, they destroy the shuttle that Riker and Picard had come over to the Helios on. They destroyed that shuttle as it was docked with the Helios, eliminating their only escape route. Then they attempt to transport Jack off of the bridge of the ship, but Picard has installed some transport inhibitors. Now, the people on the hostile vessel do not give up easily. They immediately engage a tractor beam to the Helios. They're about to bring the entire ship over to the big ship. We're going to learn the name in just a second. I guess I can go ahead and tell you, but I wait. Anywho, they're going to transport this entire ship over to their ship. And now, when things start to become their most desperate, this tractor beam is pulling them in. The Titan swoops in and returns to save the day. Seven appealed to, and I guess maybe to his ego or to the honor of Captain Shaw. She tells him that he can go back to the Federation as the man who saved two legends or as the man who let them die. Fortunately for us and for Picard and Riker, he chose the former. And after Picard remembers to shut down the transport inhibitors, they are safely beamed aboard the Titan. So, as you can imagine, on Hotel Titan, there is a lot of chaos going on this bridge. They've just beamed over Picard, Riker, and Jack Crusher. They've beamed Beverly over to sickbay, straight over there for her to start getting medical attention. And as this chaos is ensuing, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Riker, what they're going to do with Picard. What are they going to do with these people who just did the dum-dum and stole a shuttle? What are we going to do with these people? While they are engaging in this conversation, the hostile vessel hails them. And now, finally, after one whole episode, we get to meet Captain Vadic of the Shrike. That's the name of it. I told you I was gonna tell y'all. So she is a bounty hunter, and there is a bounty on the head of intergalactic con man Jack Crusher, or any other litany of aliases that he uses throughout the galaxy as he's committing these crimes. Now, right now, we with this introduction to Vadic, she's given Joker in space. She's given cartoon villain. Uh, she's given mustache twirling. That is how over the top Amanda Plummer is playing this characters. She's a Star Trek bad guy, in other words. And she really looks like she's having a whole lot of fun playing this role. And she knows a lot about Shaw. She knows a lot about Jack and Picard, even the fact that he's a synth, which I wasn't 100% sure that was common knowledge throughout the galaxy, but here we are. She says nothing about Riker, which still kind of bothers me. Now, I know that right now everything is on the table, and I still think that there is an imposter among us. So, the Titan is going to scan this ship, right? Man, when the Titan scans the Shrike, they learn that she has got a plethora of freaking weapons aboard this ship. And I'm going to read, because I couldn't remember all this. I'm going to read this stuff for you so you'll know exactly what she's working with. The Shrike is loaded with 40 isolytic burst warheads, 88 plasma torpedoes, 236 photon torpedoes, 18 antimatter missiles, 20 pulse wave, 30 series 5, and an additional unknown technology in its primary weapons position. So it sounds like Vadic is asking the Titan to send Jack over to her ship. But after that quick perusal of her arsenal, which may also include a certain missing weapon from Daystrom Station, we don't know just yet, but I believe that's what we're going to find out. It's painfully obvious that Vadic is not asking, she is demanding they send Jack to her vessel. And just in case it wasn't obvious to the Titan and Shaw and their crew, as a show of strength, Vadic, yeah, she takes that tractor beam and uses it to literally throw the Helios at the Titan. Then she's like, okay, so now you see what I can do. Then she gives him an hour to decide to do the right thing. Like I said, Amanda Plummer was over the top. I'm talking giggling, laughing, smoking cigars, all while she is threatening this ship. Usually that might be a bit much for me, but you know what? I was here for it. It worked for me. And it worked for me because I have become accustomed now to the bad guys in the sci-fi franchises to be a little bit over the top, cartoonish even. And she is truly enjoying herself, it seems, playing this role. And as long as she's having fun while she's doing it, and that fun is translated onto the screen and it is not taken away from the seriousness of what's going on the Titan, I'm okay with it. I'm all right with Amanda Plummer. After basically being given this ultimatum, this is where we start to see what Shaw seems to be most afraid of. He doesn't want to take chances because he's afraid of losing his crew. Now, I don't know if something happened to him where we are going to learn of some trauma, and I really believe that we will. And I do believe that we will find that this trauma is associated in some way with the Borg, but I digress. This might be a symptom of that trauma. Now, in my opinion, he rightly says that he is willing to give Wesley up to keep his crew safe. Oops. Did I call Jack by his big brother's name? Well, it does kind of remind me of the TNG episode that had Picard in a similar position where he chose to save Wesley. I think the episode is called Justice. It's the 8th episode, I think, of the entire series. And that's the one where Wesley ran through them people's flowers and they was going to kill him. Like that was a crime in their community, was him stepping on those flowers, and that crime was punishable by death. They were going to kill him, but Picard broke the prime directive to save Wesley Crusher's life. And here we are with a whole nother Crusher boy, putting a whole nother captain in a whole nother effed up situation. But Captain Shaw is wrestling with his Crusher situation because he knows that if he sends Jack Crusher over to Vadic's ship, it's likely going to end in his death. He will not get a fair trial. There will be no hearing. He will not be able to defend himself in a court of law. But he also feels like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. There should have been little to no hesitation on Shaw's behalf to send Jack to Vadic because there is no relationship there. Jack is even saying, send me over to that ship because he is looking out for the best interest of his mom. He doesn't want Vadic to have to use force because his mama is on this ship. So instead of sacrificing his mother for his own selfish reasons, he says, you know what, just send me over there and be done with it. In the meantime, while this discussion, or even this, I don't even know what argument, this conundrum is being muddled over, Riker is trying to make Picard see the obvious, that Jack seems a bit familiar. And I guess that leads me to like some of the issues, or at least this issue, this one issue that I had with this episode is that things just got a little talky to me. Everything was just too talky after way too much conversation from my taste. And at the last minute, Riker rouses Bev from being sedated in sickbay and brings her to Picard on the bridge, just as Shaw was like giving the order to get Jack the fuck off his ship and send him to the Shrike. Beverly comes on the bridge, and then you see some acting like I haven't seen in a while from these characters. Not a word was said. Beverly looked at Picard, and Riker was looking on at both of them, and no words had to be exchanged. Only that look that told Picard everything he needed to know. And at that moment, Picard goes into Admiral mode. He shut down everything. Lay that order. Do this, do that. And Shaw asked, why are you doing that? And Picard said, because he's my son. Whew. I'm really glad they didn't drag that revelation out any further. We already suspected it. I'm pretty sure there's more to Jack than just being Picard's son, but we knew that he was his son, and we should at least entertain the possibility that Star Trek Picard may have a fourth season following the antics of Jack Crusher Picard. It only makes sense for there to be a son to carry on Picard's name as far as the legacy of the character. And now that that cat is out the bag, Shaw knows there is nothing that I'm going to say that is going to make this man send his child over to a bounty hunter to be killed. So now the Titan is being commanded by Picard, and Picard does the old standby maneuver of hiding his ship in a nebula when he's being pursued by a vessel that he cannot take in a firefight. Of course, the Shrike gives chase because Vadic can't even help herself. She's having so much fun. Don't be surprised if next week we nearly escape the Shrike by the Titan performing the Picard maneuver. I just feel like we're going to see it. It could potentially be the last time we see Picard perform the Picard maneuver. And then, gosh darn it, we get to the Raffi side of the story, which once again brought the whole episode to a grinding halt. And I don't think it's any fault of the actor. I really do. I like Michelle Hurd. I love her. She's a great actress. But so much of what they've had her doing this season has been exposition dumps. She does a whole lot of talking that's meant to move things forward a little, but really it just gets in the way of the action. So in this exposition dump, she was ordered to disengage in her undercover mission, hence the title. But she went rogue. A suspect had been identified in the Red Lady bombing. She feels like this suspect is basically a scapegoat for somebody higher up in Starfleet. So she caught up with her son's father to put her in touch with a Ferengi broker slash gangster who I like, who and this guy might have information on the Red Lady bombing and the low level criminal who was made the scapegoat. So she gets this meeting with him. He wants her to prove that she's not Section 31, which I'm like, how the hell do you prove you're not Section 31? Section 31 is the most rogue organization within Starfleet. It's got complete autonomy and very few rules. So even if she does use this drug, because that's what he wanted her to do, take a little hit of, I think, what was it called? Splinter, which is another 12 Monkeys reference, by the way. Anywho, speaking of 12 Monkeys references, before I move on, the guy who's playing this Ferengi Sneed, he's from 12 Monkeys as well. So, anywho, Sneed tells her, you need to prove that you're not Section 31 by taking a hit of this drug. We know Raffi's a recovering drug addict, so this ain't a good idea, but she does it anyway. She does it, and now she all high, only to find out that this Ferengi knew that she was undercover because he had already killed this low-level criminal, had his head back and behind his couch and everything. So he already knew that she was lying. But he was like, I was just trying to see how far you was going to take the bit. And she was committed to the bit. So anyway, he is about to have her executed for, coming in there and being Starfleet, when the best thing about this whole effing episode happens. So she is about to be, I guess, beheaded, and she's saved in spectacular fashion by her mysterious handler, who really wasn't too mysterious, as most of us knew that it was Worf the minute we saw Warrior in that encrypted message. So we endured her entire episode arc for 15 seconds of pleasure. I quit sex for that same reason, but here I am prepared to give Raffi another chance to make it right. I have been waiting like 30 years for a Worf sequence like this. This was the sequence I have been waiting for my entire TNG fan career. This is the 275th time we have seen Michael Dorn show up as Worf, and this has to be the most hype I have gotten for his arrival in a fight scene. He came through that thing with a new weapon. I think it's called a Kurleth. So not a Batleth, but a Kurleth. And he Kurleth some heads off of some bodies. He disengaged Sneed's head from his body real quick. It was the best fight sequence, the best entrance for Michael Dorn. He comes in and picks Raffi up because she all tweaking on the floor. He's like, I told you, disengage. And that is how we wrap things up with that arc. I feel like Raffi's arc is going to get better now that she has Worf to bounce off of. Okay, we hope that she's going to get reacquainted with her son and granddaughter by the end of the season, because as a grandmother, it just breaks my heart to see a grandmother separated from her grandchild. But you would think that after saving Starfleet in the first season, that she had redeemed herself. But I guess a huge part of their issue is that she always put her career first. She was so passionate about her work and her beliefs that she brought a lot of that stuff home with her, and it led to her addiction. I get it. So now I can guess that she is going to need Worf to help her get clean again and possibly teach her some ways to stay on the wagon and also to separate her home and personal life. Hopefully, at this stage in his life, Worf has gotten a bit better at doing that himself. So, in a nutshell, this episode had big moments, but was a step below the excitement I felt last week. I like that we are getting reveals pretty quickly, but I'm not a fan of talking for the sake of talking through half the episode. I think of the TOS episode, A Balance of Terror, as the standard. That's a way to write talky episodes. There's a way to write these types of episodes with a level of tension that doesn't make them feel so bloated. Disengage wasn't a total fail, though. On my regular 5-point scale, I'll give it a 3. But understand, Worf and Vadic were the difference between this thing getting a 2 from me and it getting that 3. Now, next week's episode is 17 seconds. I almost feel like this will be the episode we catch up with Raffi and Worf first, but of course we shall see. Now, that's my review for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 2, Disengage. If you enjoyed this review, please smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn your notifications on so you will never miss an upload or a live stream. Share this with somebody you think might appreciate it. Now, if you'd like to further support After the Snap Movies and TV, slide me a super thanks or take the plunge and join my channel, like these fine folks. Thank you so much for kicking it with me, and I will see you in the next video. Live long and prosper. Peace.